Greetings travelers, your favorite item shop owner is back, and unlike last time, I'm not going to write quests. I actually received one. Let me take a look at it. Dearest item shop owner, I really need your help. It's urgent. It's circled with red. That's really urgent. I need a grimoire. Grimoire. I usually am able to pronounce that. But not just any ordinary one, I need a fake one. The thing is, my parents really want me to become a mage, but I have absolutely no talent in doing magic, nor do I want to. Okay. My passion actually lies more in doing art, and they're not happy about that. So what I'm actually asking for is a drawing kit that looks like a grimoire. Magical book, if you happen to not know what that means. I want to practice my art without my parents noticing. I will prove them wrong. Thanks. Okay, so that's really specific. I don't know if I can pull that off. But I'm interested. Let me start building. So let me do this. So grimoires, or magical books, are books that are completely filled with pages. I have to build a drawing kit that looks like a book from the outside, but is actually not filled with pages, but with, I'm guessing, art materials. I actually have something here. It looks like a book, but is a box. And there's an alpaca on the front. This is actually not mine. It was given to me by my sister because she didn't need it anymore. And I believe that she actually did some crafting with it because there's glue rests on the cover. But that doesn't matter because I want to get rid of the chameleon, alpaca or llama, as well as the design, because that does not look like a grimoire. Of course, I'm gonna customize the inside too to make it fit the exterior. And in case their parents open the book, I'm gonna design all the art tools to look like magical tools, like stuff a mage would use, or a wizard. Anyway, first of all, the exterior of the book. It is made out of cardboard, and you can immediately see from the outside that these are not real pages. So what we're first gonna do is create actual pages. Now, how do I do that? I thought of layering paper, really thin cut paper, and that is a really bad idea because it would not only be tedious work, it would also take ages. I thought of using foam or packaging material. Put it on here and make a lot of cuts into the material to make it look like pages. So we also have a 3D effect. Only painting it white, not an option at all. But there we have the issue that it's kind of thick and it would kind of fill the area here up and it would look too perfect. Because I actually really like the height difference here. So I spontaneously had a genius idea. We're gonna see if it's genius, but it has potential to be genius. We got some rope here, yes. If you pay close attention to the end here, you can see that the rope consists out of a lot of strings. What I want to do is untwirl it, calm it down to make it even, and then place it on the side of the book. If that isn't genius, I don't know what would be better, but in my opinion, this idea is amazing. Let's first do that and then let's see how we move on. First I was worried that the pages would look unrealistic because I added so much glue to them, but luckily it kind of dried into the strings, so it's not glossy at all. And in my opinion, this is actually a really realistic effect if you don't look too closely. My plan then was to simply wrap it in leather, but I wanted to add a bit more texture to it. And that's why I glued some strings to the back of the book, only to put leather on top of it, because then the shape of the rope kind of pops out from beneath the leather, which makes it look way more interesting and less bland. And some book backs look like this. Then I simply covered the back and the front with leather, and I kind of realized that I cut the ends too narrow. So when I wrapped them around the corners, I created some gaps, which do not look that pretty. I might have to fix them later. Anyway, to already make it a bit more fancy, I drew this shape that I then folded, because I wanted to be symmetrical, like this. I only had to transfer 8 of them onto EVA foam, painted it gold, and then I had to sand down my beautiful book cover to glue them on top. Because yeah, hot glue does not stick to this leather. I also wasn't satisfied with this sharp edge here, so I pulled some gold string through glue and just added it in the corner here. And I also glued the same gold string to the rear edge of the pages, which was more tedious and annoying than it looks like here. It's a pretty good start actually, and it looks like a believable book in my opinion. Now, it doesn't open all the way because the leather blocks it. Look at this beautiful interior with the glue here. But that's not the issue for now. We're still working on the outside. Next I plan to put something in the middle, like gemstones or like patterns, and then I realized the magnet here, it is obviously not gonna close the book. The book is obviously gonna open when you tilt it. So should I add more magnets? No, I have a better idea. belts. These are all old belts that my mom gave me because they're old and broken. And I'm now gonna pick one to close this book with. So bear with me. I can already see that I will have problems choosing. Let me already pick some out. This white one, the color doesn't fit. And it's just a string. Just like this black leather one. I mean, it would look cool if you twirl it around here, like close it off like this, but pretty unpractical. No. Another string. No. String. Leather band, but there's no belt buckle. I need a belt buckle. Now immediately, this is way too orange. This is way too glossy. This one is not bad. Let me keep it. This one looks pretty similar, but I'm not quite sure about the color. And this one as well. The color doesn't fit and the belt buckle is not pretty. At least not for the book. This one is simple. It would fit, but the first layer is coming off. If I use it, I just need to glue it. This one is also not bad and I'm maybe gonna use it, but not to go around the book. I also wanted to go around my shoulders like a bag. So this is maybe gonna be the back strap. We have another braided one. Doesn't look too bad. Also the buckle is gold, just like the rest. But I don't know. Maybe it's too narrow. Makes the composition look not good. And we have this wonderful thing. It's definitely something. I could take it, but the end here is a bit destroyed. So unfortunately not. As well as this one. That would look really cool in my opinion. But yeah, that is a tiny bit destroyed. Unless I want the destroyed look because it's still pretty firm. Okay, let me see. I have these three. Okay, I'm gonna put this away. These two. Okay, I think it's gonna be this one because it's just thick. But now, like, the belt is too long. I have to cut it apart. And I might have the best spot, which is here. Okay, I'm just gonna go for it. There's no going back. Okay, after sanding down and gluing the belt on, I kind of picked out some gemstones because I really want some gemstones to be on there. It took me a bit to find a pattern that I'm satisfied with, but this is perfect. And then with the same gold color that I painted the edges with before, I painted some patterns on the sides. And they're not as clean as I was planning to make them because I kind of got impatient. But doesn't matter. At least you can see that it was 100% done by human hands. Now, unless I want to change something later, I would say that the exterior is done. That means we should take care of the interior, which still looks like this. Also, the lid literally doesn't open. In my head, the interior was always red fabric. And then I remembered, I'm probably gonna put some sort of potion in there, like something that contains water. And fabric and water, it would kind of soak through the fabric into the cardboard, which would not be great. But fortunately I have this, if you remember. It's an umbrella. Well, the remains of an umbrella, but water doesn't soak into it, so it's perfect. I can just put it in like this, or I put some wool underneath it to make it kind of a bit fluffy. Actually, I like that. I think I should do it. That just means I have to kind of measure out this part and put it in there. Now the only question is, this part here also exists and I don't know if I should put the same material on there or paper. I think paper to make it look more believable. Yes. Or not. Let me think about it. Now that the outside is done and the inside also, partially, I can finally take care of the equipment. Now I'm pretty limited in paper right now. This is the only sheet left, but I think I can get 4 sheets out of this. One is gonna be glued to the inside like this, and the others are gonna... Okay. You're gonna see. The others will contain spells. I made the pages stand out here on purpose because I'm probably gonna attach them in here. But I can already cut one of them down. So these are the spell pages and this is probably a blank page. Or I'm gonna put like your name is on there. Like my name is. No, this book belongs to. As you can see, we can unfortunately still see the edges here. Very unclean work on my behalf. But despite that, it's perfectly fitting and I'm gonna glue it onto the surface. Right, now the spell pages. The real size of them is this area. This is gonna be folded. Now magic is usually channeled through runes or drawings. And fortunately, I can draw. So this should work out. So the first one is a simple air spell. And this is probably a nice color. And now there's just one try that I have and I'm gonna do my best. That's not too bad. Not too good either, but not too bad. Yeah, that's what I remember air to look like when I still took magic lessons. Yes, I took magic lessons at one point, but I was not good at it. Because, you know, you also need to channel it. One final stroke is this one. Air magic. Let me see if I can actually channel it. There definitely was a gust of wind. I'm pretty sure. I'm actually gonna put a second air rune on the back of it. I'm gonna make it a bit brighter, only a tiny bit. Maybe another tiny bit, because I think pastel blue is kind of fitting here. This rune is also air manipulation, but different. You're gonna see. It has 3 swirls, 4 strokes in total. Now what this one does is actually not create air, but rather transform it. And basically I should be able to change the tone of my voice if I channel it. So let me test if this is a good rune. Okay, I'm channeling the magic right now, and my voice... Oh my... Do you hear that? It sounds oh my, let me try again.
It works pretty consistently actually.
Oh, I don't have that much mana. But let me try if it works the other way around. Because I got my voice high. Now I'm trying to make it lower. Okay, that's not quite working. It's good enough. I'm gonna add even more white because this one is a light manipulation. And yeah, technically I could make it yellow, but it's an invisibility rune. And when I imagine invisibility, I imagine light blue, even though like invisibility is no color because it's invisible. I think you get what I mean. The invisibility rune is not that easy, but I will try. Yeah, it's kind of a weird looking thing, isn't it? It's a bit more advanced. Only one way to test it. I should probably keep my eyes open. Okay. That's not good. Oh, I think I forgot one stroke. This weird one here. Let me try again. Yeah, I can't see my own hands. Oh, I can see my own hand. And my other hand. Oh well, it works. I also want one heat rune. But you know, cold runes as well. So first I'm gonna make a cold rune. And I believe that it looks like this. 3 strokes, basic rune, but it doesn't create ice or anything. That's way too advanced. It just makes something colder. For example, these surroundings. Yes. It's pretty warm today, so some fresh air is pretty relieving. Now onto the heat rune. Of course, we're gonna use red. The heat rune is pretty simple as well. Ta-da! Let's see. It works. I'm good at the basic runes. I'm actually good. Okay, it's actually getting warm. It's actually getting really warm. Wait a minute. Okay, why is it not working? Anyway, let me continue. The very last one is gonna be electricity. So I'm gonna take some blue, some red, and mix it to get a pastel kind of purple. Last one. Yeah, I know that this one's pretty complicated, because electricity in itself is pretty complicated. Also, channeling it is pretty complicated, but I'm gonna try. This is the last one anyway. Okay. Oh, that was probably a pretty stupid idea. I hope the camera's not entirely broken now. Of course I didn't leave the pages like that. I added a few patterns to the sides, as well as a title and a description. And I glued all the ends on top of each other and glued them into the book. And now they're attached to it and you can flip them, like flap them, open them, turn. You can turn them. Of course, we also need paper to draw on. So I cut it apart to fit the book's size. And in the process, I realized that I have an actual paper cutter. So I switched to that, just if you're wondering. And by gluing a paper strip inside the cover, I can just store them there. To draw on the paper, I first want to add a simple pencil. But I don't want to add a simple pencil. Like, not that simple, not just gray. So I first sanded it down, so now it's naked, sketched some patterns on it, and then engraved them ever so slightly with my Dremel. I filled the edges with acrylic paint and put some glittery acrylic paint on top. By rubbing over it, the glitter kind of stored itself in the engravements. And now if you look at the pencil and turn it, the blue parts are kind of glittering. We have a pencil, we have a paper. Technically you don't need more, but we do need more, because this looks a bit sad. My favorite medium is actually watercolor, so I'm choosing that. Look at these beauties. This is my entire watercolor tray and I can take them out separately, but I still need something to put them into because it would just make a mess. I'm not gonna use all of them. That's way too many. And I thought a lot. I had a lot of ideas, but they were just a bit too unrealistic and didn't fit the vibe. So I found this. These are little glass potion bottles that you can close off. And I want to store some basic colors in there. The biggest struggle here is obviously finding the right size. I can probably safely say that I'll exclude these because it's a bit unpractical. They can also like not really stand. Okay, I have a plan. I'm gonna use 3 base colors. This one's red, this one's yellow. These are 2 shades of blue, really dark brown and white. That's my plan. Okay, I'm not gonna fill it up all the way to the top. Let's see if this works. I'm now gonna pick some red up and mix it in there. And we need to use a lot of it because this looks very red, but it's probably very watered down. Let's make a test strip. Yeah, but it's not as bad as I expected. The main reason why I'm using watercolors is that you can reactivate them. So if this dries out, you just need to put in some water, mix it, and you have all of the color again. I'm gonna leave it like this now and watch over it. And yeah, let me make the other ones as well. After I filled yellow, blue, another shade of blue, a mixture of brown and black, and white, I wrote down some numbers on tape. Because you know, I wanted to customize them a bit and thought that labels would fit the vibe. And I also painted them brown at the edges to make them look kind of worn down. I just added some string that I tied to the top and painted with watercolor, and that made all of them look like proper potions. Well, now, obviously, we cannot use these colors without brushes. And I'm gonna put 3 of them in there. This is the smallest one, then we have a bigger one, and this is the biggest one. It's kind of tilted. I don't like the shape. I want to actually cut it down. And I hope it works. Let's see, I'm just gonna pinch it and then cut the edges. Oh god. That looks so bad. Okay, I'm gonna rotate it and pinch it again. Oh my lord. Yeah, I kind of wanted to narrow down at the top, but don't worry, the brush was pretty cheap. But yeah, it still hurts. Ooh. Well, it's not even that bad. It's like, it is pretty bad. I just soaked it in water and I'll take it. Obviously, I can just put these in the book. But honestly, that would be kind of too suspicious. There is something that wizards have that looks kind of like brushes. You might have guessed it already. Wands. I just need to make wands out of these and it should be fine. Well, now making wands means hiding the brush tips and customizing the rest. So to get a proper base, let me first sand these down. Well, the only realistic option is to add something to them, because carving them down would reduce the size so much that they would just break. Well, the only material I really have to shape is hot glue. I'm joking. I'm not going to use it this time. I have foam clay. I don't know if it's a great idea yet. Only one way to find out. I think I need to buy a new one at some point. This was my first pack I ever had of foam clay and I still have some left. But we have to work quickly because it dries pretty quickly. Now to start with the big one, I kind of want to make it look like wood, like adding roots of some sort. So I'm just gonna wrap. Oh, what am I doing? Just gonna twirl it and see if it works. How does that look? Not too bad. This is basically the tip. You make magic like this and you hold it here. And I'm gonna create some kind of cap to put on here, but I have not the slightest idea what material to use. Probably foam clay again, but I need to coat this in something. First of all, I should let this dry and make another one. For this one, I want a different shape, like just up here. Oh, wait a minute. I want something like this, but it still looks very indescribably weird, but kind of like some kind of crystal. I like crystals, so I'm gonna add another one. Interesting, but I'm gonna leave it like that. The last one. Maybe, wait a minute. Maybe create incisions. Ta-da! I'm probably gonna make all of them look like wood because they're so uneven. I'm gonna pretend that it's organic. I covered the brush tips in plastic and just modeled foam clay over it. When the foam clay had completely dried out, I colored all the ones in gesso to serve as a base for my acrylic paint. Now I decided the first one to kind of look like a root, just like wood, and added middle brown, then dark brown, black, and a bit of light brown. So this is what we have. I don't want to change it. I want to leave it just like that. I made the second one brown as well and decided to make it look kind of like a sprout at the top. So yeah, we kind of have a green gradient up here. And then the last one obviously has kind of a crystal look to it. So I didn't make it brown, but blue. And after some shading on top, I put a bit of glitter paint. I just like sparkling things. And that's all of them. Of course, I also need some kind of water tray. And since I cannot just put an open water tray in the book, this is what I have. And I mean, it's just perfect. It looks like a potion. So I just need to fill it with water and place it in the matching leather casing. And yeah, I actually did not create this or anything. It was a birthday gift by my sister and now I can finally put it to perfect use. Then also to dry the brushes, I'm just adding some fabric. And I'm disguising this fabric as some kind of magical scroll. So to close it, I just cut off the Velcro part of the umbrella and glued it to the fabric so I can close it off. Okay, like any fancy scroll, I need a proper wax seal. But I don't have candles here or wax in general. And I also don't possess a stamp. So a quick solution would be to use hot glue. Hear me out. I might be onto something. Additional to the hot glue, I need gears and some leather. Here I'm gonna pick a shape. I just need one. This one's probably the right size. I need a marker. Wait a minute. I'm just gonna mark this size. Then I'm gonna pour a lot of hot glue in there. And then I just put this in the hot glue like this. Ow. In case this fails, let me make another one right away. Let's take a look at the first one. Okay, the gear is encased in the glue, but I need to get it out. I hope I'm able to get it out, actually. No, it's ripping. Maybe I should cut a bit of it off. I have no idea what I'm doing, just leave it to me. Okay, this is definitely a fail. It's just too detailed. Okay, but what about the second one? Yeah, it worked and it looks extremely weird. Maybe I'm just gonna cut the top off to flatten it out. I don't like the blobby look of this. It still looks pretty weird, but you know, let me paint it and maybe maybe it'll get better. Now we're almost finished, but there's one thing that's still missing, which is a tray to mix the colors, because that would be pretty convenient. And this one was the one I actually thought most about, because I wasn't really able to grasp an idea in my head. And then I looked through my stuff and found this. It's pearl-on string, like invisible string that I found at home, and it's actually older than me. This currency isn't used anymore in Germany. And it also says on the bottom, made in W. Point, Germany, made in West Germany, which doesn't exist anymore as a country. And yeah, I actually don't need the string. I'm gonna take the string off, because yeah, maybe you already saw it. Look at the inside. It is perfect. And you know what I want to turn it into? It's round. So I'm just gonna make it a clock or a watch, like a pocket watch. I think that would really fit the aesthetic. Now the inside can stay like this, but I need a lid and I have a couple of materials to choose from. I am tempted to use cardboard, but I'm probably gonna use wood. Yeah, I am gonna use wood. I have an idea. The only wood I really have here that's thin enough is my popsicles. So to actually make this work, I cut out 2 circles out of 4 popsicles that I lined up, and well, they're loose of course, so I had to tape them together to glue the other circle on top. Well, it does look pretty solid. It fits right on here, and yeah, I need to attach this. Let me think. First of all, maybe I'm gonna put something through the middle and attach it to here so that you can like close it off like this, if it makes sense. And I also need to isolate the edges and the inside because we don't want the colors spilling around. Probably gonna use foam clay again. But before I do that, I have some I lost the vocabulary. This is stuff that you put in window frames to isolate them, and I'm gonna put it on the edge of this here. I hope I can make a good circle. It's probably gonna be a tiny bit messy. A bit rough, but this should do it. The lid now lies softly on it. I like it. Yeah, we have the base. Let me take care of the rest. That's it. The book, along with the items, is completely finished. Now you may ask yourself, what is she doing? Why is she standing in darkness? I'm actually putting on long socks because I want to test it out somewhere else. I'm actually preparing myself to not get any ticks on me. So I'm gonna go out to nature. Because yes, this is a drawing kit for going everywhere, not just staying inside, having access to water and paint and whatever you need to paint. I just have this, and this is the only thing that I'm taking with me. Let's put it to the test.